What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action, spawning in the blue color, playing as Hades. His name is Shelty, also known as Max Train. As I don't know where those villages are going, but they're on a journey, a great journey here. His opponent today in the red color, playing something very, very different. We see Kvoth picking Thor on the map Mirage. Thor versus Hades. I like this. This is going to be an interesting one. We don't get to see this matchup very often. There's a lot of ins and outs to this matchup, but playing this one from the side of the Thor, I think it's a lot harder to play this one from the side of the Thor than the side of the Hades. You got to really, really know the weaknesses of Thor. But what Thor does have here is going to be a very, very strong early game to throw down a bunch of these fishing ships out and make it all work from there. Plus, he's going to have an absolute ton of food income in order to spam out raiding cavalry or get to the next age and all the other good stuff that comes from that. But we'll see how things are going to go. It does look like it's a 6 fishing ship Mirage. So for those of you who do not know, this map spawns with a range of fish. So they can spawn from 6 to 9. Each spot has got a potential to spawn 3 or 2 spots. And this does seem like the map is spawned with a minimum spawn of 6 fish, which does mean you have to play the opening slightly different than you otherwise would. Now, my recommendation here for a Greek player, when you're playing on a 6 spawn Mirage, is to actually just go for 4 villages on the wood line. You don't need any more. Put the rest on food. And you're going to be aiming for around about a 4-minute and 2-second advance time with those 6 fishing ships. Pretty old build order. Very, very strong, especially when you got boars. At the start, we are seeing that Shelty wants to save his cows here for a little bit later. I'm not a fan of this, but this will slow down any sort of advance time that he might want to do. Meanwhile, Kvoth, or for a Thor player, when you see this amount of fish, honestly, the best way to play it is to just get the wood you need to get your fishing ships out, and then just move your villagers back onto the boar in your main base. Once you've got the wood and you've got the houses and you get your temple up, you're all good to go. So you can see right here, Kvoth spending the resources there. House goes down, temple goes down. He's got himself all the fishing ships he needs, and he should, at this point, simply put, take the villagers off of wood, come back over onto the food, and he's going to be fine. Or he could bring a cow over here to eat as a completely different option, which would be just as good. We do see a whole bunch of dwarves on this gold mine. Kvoth might be wanting to build himself another ox cart out to jump onto this gold mine nice and early. He's going to be floating a lot of gold in the early stages of this game. Shelty on the other side of the map here, getting his temple up. We do see a relic in the middle of the map here, Arrows of the Alpha. That is a huge relic for Shelty to pick up here. If he picks this one up, plus 20% building pierce damage, and that's going to be, on top of the already boosted damage that Hades gets, it's going to be really, really big. As Shelty going to be dumping his fishing ships in, I guess, and going up through Athena. As we see Kvoth on the other side of the map here, going up through Freya. So no real surprises here. Though I think that most of the time, Thor is going to be better off going for City here. There's actually another strategy here which I think would be relatively decent for Thor, especially against a god like Hades. And that's like going for City Herso with mass upgrades. Just seeing a little bit of lag happening here in this game. As the wall segments coming up over here to defend at the start point. The big question is, what sort of a game plan here is Shelty going to be going for? At this point, we see 400 wood, 130 gold in the bank here for Shelty. So he might be looking to get himself out early Chiron and dropping a town center. But all of his gazelle are over here. So he's not going to be able to eat those. He really doesn't have that many fishing ships. So I'm not sure if fast second town center here is going to be the best of ideas, but it does look like that might be the case here for Shelty, though. He's dropping himself a military academy and an archery range really early on. Longhouse is coming down now for Kvoth. As another ox cart going to be coming out, so the villagers can potentially move forward and start eating the gazelle on this position. As the Valkyrie searching around, another relic on this position here with the hardest folly. Not that useful, but it will be able to help out the Ulfsark's line of sight just a little bit. Or potentially the Katoskopos or Pegasus. Not really that important for the Greek player. As we see the houses coming up, raiding cavalry going to be coming through here. One of the big weaknesses for Thor in general is the weak scouting that Thor can have, or that Thor has. Thor has got really weak scouting. So the early Valkyrie will be a big help to sort of see what's around the map. And he's going to be looking to try and hit some sort of a raid, but mostly this Valkyrie should be moving in to see what sort of unit composition, what sort of strategy Shelty's going for. Shelty's just going to be building some units out in the early stages of the game. I like the start here from Shelty. He probably could afford a third military building already here, especially with the extra 6 fishing ship that he's got, but he hasn't thrown that one down. Instead, probably getting himself some technological upgrades. Instead, he's getting himself hand axe, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a pickaxe here as he's going to be throwing down a stable at this point. I'm actually grown more of a fan of the stable in this matchup and in the Greek versus Norse matchup in general, but not for the reasons you might think. Not for Hippocon. The reason for the stable, you can build a couple of Hippocon out, but it's not going to be the main unit in your army. You can use it to kind of distract throwing axemen or something like that. But the main reason for the stable is when you hit the heroic age, you might want to build Prodromus to deal with these raiders pushing around the map. As we do see the raiding cavalry going to be searching around here, looking for some sort of forest fire shenanigans here in this game. As the units pushing out, we will be seeing Kvoth attempting to push in there, but the unit's already in defensive position there. As we also see Kvoth getting a very, very early watchtowers here. Kvoth playing it very safe as the raiding cavalry are going to be searching around. There is a forest fire to drop down onto this position, but Kvoth is not able to get in there just yet as he's still searching around for potential villagers to kill. Shelty pulls all the way back here. He could drop another storehouse on this position if he wants. Or he could just send the villagers to the forward location as he does decide to drop that storehouse there. Units in this location here for Shelty defending nicely as the raiding cavalry are going to be moving away from this location, trying to figure out a place here to raid, as we are now seeing the units pushing forward. The villagers on this wood line here have been spotted as they're going to be attempting to retreat back, but Kvoth gets into position there and he's going to completely block those villagers off. He doesn't actually manage to pick them off though. One villager going down, but the other two do manage to retreat away as the army now pushing forward into the base of Kvoth. Kvoth already with the towers up. He's going to be completely fine there to defend. He's at 95 population, trying to take villagers down here as the sentinels is up. Kvoth might simply want to just retreat out of here. He might get villager kills, but he's going to be losing quite a lot of HP, if not a whole handful of raiding cavalry. As 1, 2, potentially 3 raiding cavalry. 3 raiding cavalry did go down for what looks to be 1 villager after all is said and done. That's not a great trade there for Kvoth at all, as the units here for Shelty searching around will find a house, can take that one down nicely as more raiding cavalry pushing in onto this location. A forest fire on this back forest here could do a decent amount of damage as he does drop that down. Restoration having to be dropped there to keep the villagers alive. Beautiful play, good reaction from Shelty, but Kvoth is going to be stoked about forcing a restoration out on that position as now Shelty moves up to the top forest over there. The units are completely out of position for Shelty over here as he needs to retreat back to defend himself. Copper shields coming through here for Kvoth. Absolutely love that. He's got plenty of resources in the back. He can get himself bronze shields and then getting himself maybe even iron shields here in the early stages of the game here to kind of deal with the army which Shelty has assembled here. If he gets crazy pierce armor upgrades, he should be completely fine as the army searching around. We do see the raiding cavalry coming in onto this position to yet again hit the villagers of Shelty at this point. Shelty does react to that one, turning around, getting a couple of shanks here. The raiding cavalry do get themselves that copper shields upgrade, so they're going to start having a little bit more survivability in this position here. Shelty really could use a little bit of walls in his base to kind of slow down those cavalry, but he hasn't yet thrown them up. It's 30 villages, 31 villages to 33, so still very, very close here after all is said and done. But Kvoth now has got himself the upgrades for his raiding cavalry. There's a slight timing here as medium infantry, medium archers coming through for Shelty. Shelty still searching around the map looking for something to kill as the dwarves moving out onto this gold mine as Kvoth is gearing up to get to the next age. There's plenty of different options here for Kvoth. I love the armory upgrade option here for Thor against this sort of an army of Shelty. As we see thundering hooves coming through as well, as the raiding cavalry are searching around trying to find where the villagers are, but it looks like they have moved to the front forest here. One wall down on this position, one wall up here, and these villagers start becoming much more safe as we do see the Chiron has spotted the villagers on this gold mine, and Shelty here, he is ready to start pouncing on that location immediately. As the units pushing out over here, the towers will be able to help out. Kvoth not microing too well. They're going to be pulling back. The army going to come through to defend against that one as the dwarves coming in onto this position here as the units coming back as well. Kvoth could get himself extra upgrades as we do see the villagers coming up to this top location here as the gatherers do get spotted though by the Katoskopos as the Chiron on this position getting sniped down here as it does get caught out of position ever so slightly. Shelty going to be retreating away for the time being as we do see the hoplites almost able to snipe a raiding cavalry, and they do manage to pick that one off as now Kvoth starting to take down some of these straggler units as Hades Shades coming through to cause some problems. Shelty's economy is starting to look very nice. His resources are starting to pile up. He will be hitting that next age in a timely fashion as the units have to leave the gold mine for the time being here for Kvoth. Kvoth still has got Gazelle in this position. He's got an entire army here he can utilize to take out the Shelty army as we do see the Hersa going straight after the Minotaur on this position. The units hanging around on this gold mine, but as they move off, the villagers come straight onto that. And not only that, we do see Kvoth here taking his opportunity to retreat as he moves his villagers onto this location. Nice play where that's concerned. Lots of raiding cavalry here as Aphrodite is on the way. This is the timing, the only real timing here that Kvoth has is between now and 30 seconds. He needs to force a fight immediately. Otherwise, the heroic age of Shelty is going to hurt tons here. And Shelty knows this. He's retreating away. He's going to be losing a handful of HP here. But the longer he waits and the longer he can start getting out all his units onto this position to drop a curse here, the better position he's going to be in. But he is losing a lot of units here as the army slowly making its way over onto this position. As now Shelty turns around, he will be able to use the curse god power on this position as he gives himself some more chance over here. Shelty still sitting at max population. Hunting dogs coming through for Kvoth as he's going to be pushing in onto the Gazelle over here as the dwarves getting pushed off. Kvoth gets completely caught out here as Shelty is able to get tons of villager kills. The Kvoth army has dealt with the majority of Shelty's army over there, but the population differential in this game is favoring Shelty quite hard as he turns back with his army looking to start taking the fights over here. The Throw and Axeman coming in to help out as well as the remainder of Shelty's units are going to be piling in onto this location. Can Kvoth hold here? Kvoth at this point does not have that many upgrades. We're going to be seeing potential Prodromus coming in to deal with the raiding cavalry, potential Paspis to deal with the really, really strong Throw and Axeman, but more importantly, those Hades Shades are tanking for days against the Throw and Axeman. And in that moment, Kvoth decides he cannot hold on any longer. What happened in this game? How did Shelty manage to hold here and get to the heroic age after all of those raids were coming in? Really, really nice play from Shelty. I think that Kvoth not quite used to the Thor economy here. I think if Kvoth had just committed to an earlier fight once he had the Thundering Hooves, for example, and maybe threw down some more military buildings or something like that. He does have 4 already. But if he had committed to an earlier fight against the Hades, as Shelty was kind of out and about, not really getting up to much, but causing some problems. If he caught Shelty out in that moment, he definitely could have won those fights. But once the heroic age comes in, the curse gets laid down, The Nemean line comes in. All those Hades shades come in to help out after, I mean, you think that Kvoth wins this fight, but in reality there, it was kind of a relatively equal trade. And basically after all of that settles, you really don't even want the Thor and Axemen anymore. You actually want Ulfsark and raiding cavalry, so those Thor and Axemen become more of a liability than anything else. And Shelty can get the easy dub there with a really, really nice heroic age timing push here. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next game.